Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS. Continuing on with college football week 5. Got a Big Ten matchup here. Illinois on the road in Happy Valley to play Penn State. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. SWAS. Hey, get the SWAS.
All right, like I said, we got Illinois on the road at Penn State here. Nittany Lions laying 17.5 points at home. Total sitting at 47.5, pretty much across the board. I do see a 48. Before we get into this one, let's take a look at the pie charts. According to this data, public action coming in on Illinois, sharp action in on Penn State. But as I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this one, and we'll start with this with some head-to-head history here. Penn State's taken 4 of the last 5 matchups. They're also 4-1 against the spread. The one outlier there is in 2021, the 2018 upset. And if you're a college football fan, you remember that game. It went to like 8 overtimes or something. It was a crazy game. Penn State pulled off the huge upset. Other than that, Penn State's pretty much controlled this head-to-head rivalry, if you want to call it that. So how do these two teams match up this season? Well, both are off to hot starts. Illinois, perfect 4-0, 3-0-1 against the number. Penn State, 3-0, 2-1 against the number. Illinois obviously coming off the huge road upset on the road in Lincoln. 31-24 was the final score in overtime. And to me, I wasn't so much shocked that Illinois won the game. I had Illinois. I got it at plus 10. I wasn't so much shocked that they won the game. I was shocked at how they did it. I mean, they went into Lincoln and ran the ball a little bit, which if you follow Illinois football, that's not exactly, I mean, this is a team that relies on throwing the ball with Altmaier. 39 carries, 166 yards, 4.3 yards per carry on the road at Nebraska. Nebraska, very, very tough defensive front. Illinois, not really known as a team that runs the ball. So let's give a shout out to the Illinois coaching staff for that one, because I do not think Matt Rule and the Nebraska defense were expecting that at all, to come in and try running the ball between the tackles on Nebraska's defense. Definitely caught them off guard, or at least in my opinion it did. But still, we know Illinois is an offense that likes to throw the ball. You can see from their metrics this season. I mean, they're 62nd in OFEI, 87th in yards per carry, 101st in rushing success rate. Passing, though, 35th and 16th, 44th in effective pass. So this is an offense that wants to throw the ball with Altmaier, but we do have to give them some credit for running the ball in Nebraska. That was impressive, and their offensive line is creating space in the run game. They're actually 12th in run blocking grade, just 64th in line yards, but 29th in stuff rate, 43rd in power success rate. So this offensive line really living up to the hype. As I've said multiple times, Brett Bielema, now that Nick Saban is gone, no head coach in college football has sent more offensive linemen to the NFL than Brett Bielema. So I think we need to accept the fact that this Illinois offensive line is pretty good this year. That being said, I doubt we're going to see him go on the road and run the ball for 4.3 yards per carry here in Happy Valley. This is Penn State. And look, Nebraska's defensive front, it's elite. It's probably top 25. But Penn State, I mean, maybe the best run defense in the FBS last year. Certainly a top 5 run defense again this year. Look at their numbers. I mean, this defense is 9th in yards per play allowed, 14th in success rate. Run defense is 10th in yards per carry, 13th in success rate. They're also really nice against the pass. I mean, this is Penn State. Not to take anything away from the Nebraska defense, but this is a bit of a step up in class here. Look at the Penn State defensive front. 6th in run defense rank, 9th in defensive line yards, 6th in stuff rate, 14th in power success rate. So, yeah, we saw Illinois go into Lincoln, surprise Nebraska, run the ball a little bit. I really doubt that's going to happen here. I mean, we saw this Penn State defense in the opener go on the road to Morgantown. West Virginia's offense, specifically the rushing attack, we're expecting to be a borderline top 25 run game this year. Penn State held them to 37 carries, 85 yards, 2.3 yards per carry in Morgantown. So yeah, let me repeat that. Illinois went on the road to Nebraska, averaged 4.3 yards per carry. I doubt that's going to happen again. But can Altmaier throw the ball? That's a different question. We saw Connor Bazelak in the Bowling Green offense come in and, I mean, make some plays. Not that he was good. 25 of 39, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 117 passer rating. That's not a good game, but he was able to make some plays. I mean, Penn State only won that game by a touchdown. Luke Altmaier and the Illinois passing attack are not even in the same discussion as Connor Bazelak and the Bowling Green passing attack. I mean, Luke Altmaier has shown us he can go on the road in Big Ten games and produce. He was actually better on the road last year. Completion percentage better on the road. Touchdown to interception ratio 7-4 on the road, 6-6 at home. Passer rating significantly better on the road last year. And then last week we just saw him go on the road to Lincoln. And yeah, they were running the ball a little bit, but Altmaier was nearly perfect. 21 of 27, 215 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, a 193 passer rating. And that Nebraska defense is official. He also was really good on third downs. I mean, look, I'm not saying Illinois is going to come in here and move the football, but this is a quarterback that we know can show up and make plays against really good defenses. Also, Penn State runs a lot of man coverage. They're actually 8th in the country in man coverage frequency this year. Luke Altmaier has shredded man coverage, and he was doing the same thing last year. Look at these numbers. Top 25 across the board in throwing the ball against man coverage. So, again, I'm not expecting Illinois to come into Happy Valley and put up 30 points, but don't be surprised if Illinois is able to move the chains and put some points up in this game. Now, what about the other side? What about the Penn State offense? Well, we know what Penn State's trying to do offensively. They're trying to run the football. They're 9th in the country in run frequency. They've got the dual superstar RB combination here, Singleton and Allen. Both of these guys get looks, 37 carries and 35 carries so far this season. If it wasn't for Ohio State with Judkins and Trevion Henderson, I would say this is probably the best RB duo in the country. This offense has looked good as hell so far. 6th in yards per play, 10th in success rate, 12th in yards per carry, 33rd in rushing success rate. Passing numbers even look elite this year. But one thing we have to mention when we're talking about the Penn State offense, really haven't been tested at all. I mean, we thought the opener on the road in Morgantown, that would be a really good test for Penn State, and it was for their defense, but that West Virginia defense looks terrible. It's down to 88th in DFEI and plummeting. I mean, Pittsburgh hung 38 points on that West Virginia defense. Pittsburgh scored more points on West Virginia than Penn State did. So looking back on it now, running the ball on WVU doesn't look nearly as impressive as it did when it first happened. That West Virginia defense is really struggling. Illinois is going to be the toughest test for Penn State's offense so far. They're 43rd in DFEI, 37th in yards per play allowed, 76th in success rate. Been pretty solid against the run, 49th in yards per carry, 51st in success rate. And did you see what this defense did last week? 33 carries, 48 yards on the ground, just 1.5 yards per carry on the road in Lincoln. That big physical Nebraska offensive line, that big physical rushing attack, Illinois shut it down. And let's not pretend like we've never seen the Penn State run game fail to show up before. I mean, they didn't really run the ball in Illinois last year. Just 4.1 yards per carry, 164 yards rushing, 34.2% rushing success rate in that game. They weren't really running the ball in Illinois last year. And speaking of that, if you pull up Penn State's game logs, look at the middle column here. Look at yards per carry. This offense was struggling to run the ball in a ton of their conference games here. Illinois in week 3, 4.1 yards per carry. Iowa's elite defense, so give them a pass for that one, but 3.8 yards per carry. Northwestern, 3.4 yards per carry. Ohio State, elite defense, but just 1.9 yards per carry. Indiana, 3.1 yards per carry. Maryland, 4.3 yards per carry. So let's not act like it's unfathomable that the Penn State run game would fail to show up here. We've seen it over and over again. And we just saw this Illinois defense take the run game away from Nebraska in Lincoln last week. So I don't think it's crazy to say Illinois' defense could at least hold their own here and give Penn State's offense some problems. Now, we do have to mention that this is a new Penn State offense. Kotelnicki is the OC now, comes in from Kansas, and we see the drop-off in offensive production in Kansas without him. A lot of people are saying Drew Aller is going to be much more of a passing threat under Kotelnicki. He hasn't really been asked to do much yet, hasn't really been tested, but he's been next to perfect. 729 yards, 12.6 yards per attempt, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. But what does that sound like? Sounds exactly like what we were saying about Dylan Raiola last week. We're like, he's been almost perfect, but he hasn't really been tested yet. He was able to make some plays on Illinois. 24 of 35, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 162 passer rating. But Nebraska still lost this game. Illinois beat him outright. So I ask you, how is there a 10-point difference in line? I mean, obviously Penn State is a step up, but is it this much of a step up? Look, sports betting logic tells you Illinois just pulls off the huge road upset, fade them the next week, and it looks like they might be a public dog here. There's no way. I'm laying 17.5 points with Penn State in this game. So I am going to be on the other side of this one. I already bet this one. I took Illinois at plus 18. Maybe a bit of a public dog. Don't really care. Also, a little worried about James Franklin. He always knows the number, and he's always trying to cover. So maybe y'all get screwed in that department. But there's no way I can lay 18 points with Penn State. No shot. This Illinois team, they showed us they could play on the road. I trust Altmaier to make some plays. Give me the Illini, plus 18. If you want to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You'll see all mine as well as everyone on the staff here. Also, when you sign up to Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 on one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So head over to the website and sign up if you're interested. Live show Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time up to kickoff. We'll be live for 2 straight hours. We'll go through as many games as we can. Sunday NFL, we're live from 11 a.m. up to kickoff. Go through every single game on the board. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a nice college football week 5 coming off a really good weekend. Unfortunately, Monday Night Football, I took the Jags, and they only lost by about 70 points. So still a good weekend. Just Monday night wasn't that cool. Let's have ourselves a nice one. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.